Welcome to Who Will Lead the World? दुनिया का नेतृत्व कौन करेगा? I'm your host, Sanjeev Thana. Joining me today, a very versatile person, Dr. Arundhati Hoskeri. Dr. Hoskeri is trained in IB and Cambridge International Pedagogy and Leadership. She is a certified cybercrime intervention officer, and she was also a private school principal. Dr. Hoskeri, welcome to the show. Dr. Hoskeri, when I look at your professional career, and let me go through this, let me read it because I need some my prompt here. You have collected almost like more than 5 or 6 degrees. You have PhD in zoology, English literature, you have diploma in public speaking, and you are trained IB and Cambridge pedagogy. So the question for you is that it looks like you are still learners. That's awesome. Tell me your story.
All right. Thank you, Sanjeev, for the good introduction. And I would like to begin with my all-time favorite Acharya Chanakya's quote. And he was a great economist and a thinker and revolutionary thinker, logician, philosopher, and educationist, So, na choraharyam, na rajaharyam, na bhratrabhajyam, na cha dharakari. Ve krite vardhate eva nityam vidyadhanam sarvadhana pradhanam. So why do we give so much importance to education? What Acharya Chanakya said is, education or, like wisdom or your knowledge is the only thing which your rulers can, or, authorities cannot confiscate, which the thief cannot take it away from you, and nor your siblings can claim their share in this. And this is the only wealth that goes on enhancing and increasing as you spend more and more. And I am trying to live my life by that maxim because Acharya Chanakya is my all-time favorite. Well, curiosity and hunger for knowledge, maybe it's an inborn trait in me. And anything that is new fascinates me. That way, child in me is very, very active. I won't feel satisfied until I learn. You said now also you must be learning. Yes, I am learning. I speak Sanskrit. I know I have a very good base of Sanskrit because I am a Vaishnava Brahmin. But you know what? I had not studied the grammar properly. So now I'm taking up the courses. I have finished the first 2 levels in Sanskrit. I have got distinction. First year I scored 91. Second year I scored 83. And I would like to complete till that graduation. There are 4 levels. Now I'll be giving my exam in February at 3rd level. So that is how it is, In fact, I got married very young. And before my undergrad results were out, my BSc, I gave the examination and I got married. Within a year, I got my baby. But, I did not stop there. I continued my education, taking care of my family, raising my child. And, I really focused on my education. I invested my time and energy in education. I completed my master's in zoology, MSc, then MEd, that is education, master's in education. Then I'm very fascinated by English literature. So I did, my post-graduation in English language and literature. I completed, in fact, my PhD when I was 50. I told you that. And I'm lucky to have got an excellent support from my family. I must acknowledge this, I must thank my parents and my husband, my son, who have always been there for me and who are very encouraging, and they feel very proud of me, But for them, I wouldn't have achieved any professional or personal success. I can very well say this.
You are lucky that you have such a supportive family.
I am. And behavior has always been fascinating me, I love to observe people, and I spent my life with children, teenagers and pre-teens. So my doctoral study was on correlation between self-concept and disruptive behavior of adolescent children. There are researches done in this field, but people have taken one strand. Either they have taken aggression or anxiety or depression or, disruptive behavior. But I took all the 4 strands because this PhD was not for my professional scaling high, or, it wouldn't have got me any better job, or it wouldn't have increased my money. I was already topmost in the hierarchy. I was heading an IB World School. But I did it for my pleasure. And trust me, it was a very, very fulfilling journey and an awesome journey, I would say. And totally, I spent 37 years in education and 21 years in the leadership role as a principal and director and MR of Indian and international schools, IB schools and Cambridge international schools. But being a Cambridge educator and an IB educator, I'm constantly in a learning mode because that is the need of the hour for all the Cambridge educators. But how we take it also depends on us. It depends on the individuals. Actually, the approach is to teaching and learning process, the pedagogies and the demands of curriculum keep changing constantly in education, and anyone who becomes complacent would become obsolete. And I don't want to be, left behind. So I always look forward to keep myself updated.
Right.
That shows my interest in
that's awesome. I think pretty much you have summarized very well about your journey as an educator. But you said one interesting thing, curiosity. I mean, that's what I think sometimes I'm feeling some of the next generations, they need to understand if you have curiosity, you can change the path. Especially, I'll tell you that in forthcoming years or forthcoming centuries, you will see that not only people have to change their career, but they will have to, not only they have to change their jobs, they have to change the career, because right now the world is becoming so competitive. And if you are hung up on one career or one skill, that's not good enough. So I think you said very nicely, curiosity, and thank you for. I think our viewers will definitely. We do appreciate that you are just pointing out that that point about curiosity. Especially, I mean, it's inspiration that at the age of 50 you got your PhD. That's off to you. I finished my master's degree, and I'm still sometimes. I get up middle of the night why I didn't finish my PhD. But anyway, that's another story. Let me move on to our main.
But now also it's not late, Sanjeev.
It's not too late. It's not like I've decided to become an entrepreneur, but we'll see how it goes. So, Dr. Hoskeri, let me ask you one question. The way the world is going right now, because especially we are talking about a global thing right now. Okay, the fake news. There are so many fake news channels all over the world. Many demagogues across the world. They are spreading shamelessly lies. Okay, the way we are right now, it's a polarized world right now. Either you are with me or you're not with me, or you're against me, right? So now the biggest issue is right now is that kids are hooked up to social media. Teenagers, forget about teenagers, even though kids as young as 9 or 10 years old, they go to social media and look at the video, browse through TikTok, YouTube, and all those things. Now, the main thing is that how do this next generation, how do we tell them that, look, this is real or this is fake? So how do these people can make a self-argument that, or they can make a rational and critical and right decisions. And for that, what we need is a logical thinking, right? What's your thought where we are heading, the way we are? There are nothing we can do right now, the way world is right now, full of fake news and all those shameless behavior by some of the people or organizations. How do next generation can think logically and become rational decision maker?
All right. A very, very interesting discussion. See, social media technology has revolutionized this world, and it has changed our life completely. But the flip side is, as you rightly pointed out, there are so many untrustworthy sites or, the fake news or whatever. I completely agree with you. Actually, my concern for children in this cyberspace is a lot, because I see kids getting hooked, creating false profiles on Facebook, because they know that 14 years it is allowed. And even 10 and 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds, if they are little smart enough, if they have elder siblings, they create the Facebook, profiles, and a lot of things are happening, And it is actually, cyberspace is a very scary space. And this concern actually led me to learn about cyberspace, and I am a certified cybercrime expert. I work in this space. I am a part of a national, database at Top Connect, and a lot of things come. And this, I'm doing it as a social service. I don't charge anything, or it's not for money or anything, because my concern for children. I train children, I train teachers. But how to protect our children from here is, it is a responsibility of everybody. We can't just blame the schools. We can't just blame the parents, because whenever something goes wrong, either the school starts blaming the parents. Oh, house, he must be coming from this kind of household. We should stop that, because every adult who are around the kid are responsible for raising him up in a proper way. So it is our duty as adults to guide our children very properly. And as you rightly pointed out, logic makes a lot of difference. So why 21st century skills are built, like why they are, focusing on critical thinking, design thinking, and, logical thinking. All these things are essential. So logic actually helps you to discriminate what is right, what is wrong, how much I have to take from here, how much I should not take. Gaming is another addiction children are getting to. So if the kids are trained in proper reflection and proper reflective thinking or logical thinking, definitely, we will be able to make a difference.
So another question is that we all know, even the parents and educators and school or educational institute, they all know that it's very important to teach logic besides teaching STEM subjects, right? So why schools are not introducing a subject called logic? I mean, some schools are doing it, but Ivy League, I know that some of the schools, international schools. So why? What am I missing here? Why schools and teachers are not saying that, look, no matter what, we need to give equal importance to logic as a subject also? What am I missing here?
See, actually, logic for the school kids, if we are talking about primary and middle school and all that, we can't start a separate subject. It is my personal opinion, but definitely logic is incorporated in each and every subject, and the school should make extra effort in developing the logic in children. See, for example, now in Indian schools, like the international schools that are run in India, again, I'm coming to Cambridge and IB, and some good ICSE schools are also doing this work. We begin teaching coding in grade 3, grade 2, and then the children are doing robotics. See, all these things require logical thinking. It's a myth that only mathematics and physics, where we have to correlate, are having logic and others are not having. No, I don't believe in that. Every subject can be incorporated. I'm talking international curricula. They are articulated both horizontally and vertically, and they're based on the spirit of inquiry. It is an inquiry-based learning that is happening. As I said, some of the good schools, whatever curriculum they are, if the leaders, educational leaders are proactive, if the teachers are proactive, anybody and everybody can introduce these skills. I don't discriminate that, okay, it should happen in only elite and international schools, it should not happen in state board schools. No, actually, municipal schools, government-aided schools also have to introduce. Their, organization like yours can really make a difference. Where it is not available, there we'll have to provide. Right. And I appreciate you for taking that initiative.
Right. So we have developed logic as a separate course. And I personally think that we should be teaching this logic skills, not only the math skills, the logic skills at early age. And there are some experts, they will say, not required until they are in teenagers. But when you talk about logic, I agree, it's not just the math. We have developed the curriculums we call as the NGN logics, where some of the skills we are teaching, like statements and arguments, Venn diagram, patterns and objects, identifications, deductive thinking, inductive thinking, and then, of course, the math-based logics, right? So these are the skills we think that we can introduce to kids at early age, so that will benefit them in some other core subjects. Just like you are doing math and science and you are doing physical exercise. Why physical exercise is important? Because you need to make sure that you stay away from the computer and no more study. And then if your body works, your mind works, right? We also think that your mind should work, it should be trained. And that's why we introduce this logical skills. But what I'm kind of disappointed that it's still not been adapted on educational level. So the question is that, do you think time has come down for educational institute to accept logic as one of the core subjects, along with some of the social emotional learning also. What's your thoughts?
Well, see, to take it as a core subject, actually speaking, it is not up to the individual school. Even if you are a private school, you are bound by some board. If it's a state board, or if it's ICSE board, if it's a CBSE board, if that has to be taken as a principal subject, then the boards are the decision makers and not the schools.
Sure.
That is point number one. And secondly, there is no harm if you find value in any program like that. When I was heading the schools, I have introduced so many programs like this. It could be added as an after school program, or if it could be added into a club activity. So definitely, why not? If it's going to help kids, especially for the schools where they are not teaching this concept-based learning.
Right.
Okay, as I told you, Cambridge schools, what we do is we are putting the concept-based learning. It means we think of a bigger picture, bigger concept, because our aim is to prepare the children for global citizenship. Say, for example, how to teach English, how logic is incorporated in English. It's inbuilt in the curriculum. See, right from primary years, we train the children in key reading skills. So we never tell a child, okay, just get up and read, and then I will read, and this is your ask your doubts. It doesn't happen that way. So we teach the skills properly to children, like skimming and scanning and selecting and synthesizing and locating the implicit meanings, explicit meanings, and emotive and sensory language, how to identify them, analyzing and evaluating a piece of writing. So this is how we teach reading skills. For writing skills also, we teach different genres of writing, like descriptive writing, discursive writing, narrative, and then, argumentative travelogues, and how to write dialogues, how to write monologues, diary entry, and so on. So all this, as you said, it requires logic. But if such a thing is not happening, all other boards, why can't they adapt something? If logic is made as a separate subject, which will enhance the skill in every subject, I strongly feel we should go for it. Right. But now our education policy, NEP 2020, is so well structured. Whatever you are talking, all these things are incorporated. And I'll tell you, just, it is still at a paper level. If it is implemented properly, definitely it's going to make a difference to our country. You know what? Here again, organization like yours, and if you're giving a well-structured curriculum and how the teaching is done, it will be very helpful, because see, we will implement the policy, but we also need to train the teachers. We need to bring them on the level what we want. So things like this, the ready-made packages will help.
That's right. And that's what I was going to leaning toward, that before we talk about students, I think it's, there's a word called as train the trainer, right? We had to train the trainer. So we need to train the teachers and staff. And more I talk with educators, they all are agreed that it's time to introduce some of the other courses like social emotional learning, logic, because that really can change students' behavior and also academic performance. So what you are saying, I think some of the private schools, they are lucky to, all the students who are going through that, they are lucky to have it. But some of the grassroots level, the public schools, some of the, and that's where I think we need to make sure that how do we implement this kind of subject systematically, and that's what we are trying to make a difference here. But I want to show you, you did talk about global citizen. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want to give you 30 seconds. Okay, take a look at for 15 or 30 seconds, and I'll ask you one question.
1 minute.
Okay.
So the question here is that which goal you think you can closely relate based on your experience? Anything you can think about? These are the global issues, 21 global issues developed by NGN and Next Generation Nation organizations. And to me, these goals are kind of universals. Okay. And there is an ambition by this organization, NGN, to solve these global issues once and for all in next 100 years. But coming down to you, can you relate one of these goals or maybe many goals and share your experience.
Right. See, very first thing what I believe is education access to all. Because as we just discussed right now, how the best schools are doing their practices and how some schools are deprived and all that. Education should be provided, and there should be easy access, and good education has to be provided. Mm-hmm. See, what happens is if you educate one child, the entire family gets educated, and their generation to come forth, they get educated. So that is very closer to my heart. Second one I would take as build innovative and tolerant society. That is, tolerant society. Build innovative and tolerant society. See, as you rightly pointed out, along with logic, we also require emotional stability, which is lacking in the children as well as in adults. Why we are facing so many problems? Because nobody educated us in emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the new thing that needs to be incorporated in a school. Actually, 3 years back, I took a course from Yale University, emotional intelligence for teachers. So that is a fantastic thing, how you have to put it into your children. And so if we focus on that, then, we can, if we are tolerant of each other, we can do so many things. Collectively, we can really make a difference. And also, when you talk of, building a society or building innovative or tolerant society, what happens is, always we should have a bigger, larger picture, and we should think beyond our selfish motives. Then definitely everything will work out. This is my experience. If we genuinely want to do something good, the help will flow from all the angles. That is my faith and my experience.
Yeah, no, totally understand.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, then healthcare access to all is another thing. A healthy society only can be emotionally well. And then I go for elimination of hunger. Elimination of hunger will automatically happen if you take these 3 things into consideration. The minute we develop compassion, the minute we are there for each other, and we are trying to see for that, if I want to eliminate hunger, I don't have to become a it's possible for people like Ratan Tata and real philanthropists who have lots of money plus attitude for doing. They are all normal people. So even if I feed hungry mouths, if I support every year I support my maids' children's education, whatever we can. In small ways, we can try to make a difference. If we spread this message along, we throw parties at any instance. It need not be for our wedding anniversary or birthday only. So I stopped it 20 years back. So on every birthday or everything, what we do is we go and either feed in the ashramas, or there is a Gurukul in Mumbai. 250 children are educated free of cost in the ancient knowledge of Vedas and all that. We give whatever our donation, we give it over there. So these kind of small things, if we do, it will definitely develop a society what we are looking in for, and there is no place for hunger. Right?
No, I agree. So what we are doing, I'm going a little bit slide off the subjects, that we have introduced these 21 goals. Like back in 2017, I founded a company called ngn.org in California. And now we are trying to integrate this global issues into the hardcore curriculums. And that's the beauty about our curriculum. What we are trying to do here is that how do I integrate math into global issues? How do I integrate these global issues with social emotional learning? You talk about EQ, emotional, right? So I think, and the logics also, we try to integrate this logic with the global issues, so that now children will get perspective that, okay, how do I apply the learned skills to solve the real life issues? And that's where we are trying to bring awareness. And we are talking with educators like yourselves that, look, is it time to reform our educations where we can teach skills like logics, social emotional learning, and also global issues into our day-to-day learning?
Yes, I totally agree with you. It is the time now. As I said, if I again talk only about Cambridge and IB schools, a lot of work is happening in this space also. Yeah. But our aim is to reach to every school and every kind of board and everything. And I agree with you completely. if it can't be incorporated at the board level, but it's up to every principal. We can always put it as a support system for our kids and teach the children. All these things can be incorporated. I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm going to now change a little bit directions. We call as a you may have heard about rapid fire, rapid question. I call as a NGN rapid fires. Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions, maybe a little bit personal or professional, but try to answer your question rapidly. Ready for it?
Okay.
You like more learning than teaching, true or false?
It is true, but I also love teaching.
Tell me some of the craziest thing your students ever told you.
When I was pursuing my B.Ed, I was giving my practice lesson, and one 10th grade kid proposed to me. He said he fell in love with me and he wanted to marry me.
That's crazy.
I had already a son by that time.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm glad. I'm assuming that you managed that guy very well. He was heartbroken.
No, I did counsel him. I did speak to him.
Okay.
And I gave a big sermon to him. Love need not be only romantic love. You can love me, but not in that sense. All that stuff.
Oh, poor guy. The first love was heartbroken. Okay. Tell me the craziest thing you ever told students.
I don't recollect anything like that. I don't recollect.
Okay, so you are always wise and composed.
Yes. I've always been compassionate, and I've always been, I don't know. I don't recollect anything like that.
Okay, all right. Climate change, global warming, is it myth or true?
It is true.
Okay. Now, have you ever failed your students? And I'm just be careful, your students may be listening to this.
No. I have never failed any student. In fact, if you give me permission, a small incident I will
go ahead.
tell you. One kid, like during the midterm examination, had got 11 marks, but she was so scared that she made it 41 and she showed that pass. But I was a smart teacher. I always used to record my marks and then give the paper. And I immediately came to know that she has played played it up. Then I let all the children go and I called her, like I made her wait. I asked her, why did you do it? No, I got 41. I said, show me, then count and show. Then she started crying. No, my mother will scold me. My father will scold me like this. And I told her, you are not going to achieve anything. I counseled her. And I promised her that I'm not going to divulge this to anybody. But right now, I'm going to give it as 11 marks only. And nobody will come to know about it. But you have to give it up. The child really improved. Today, she's a successful lawyer. Recently, she contacted me on Facebook and she narrated the incident which I had forgotten. She told me, ma'am, that day, if you had not shown that compassion and explained the things to me, I don't know where I would have ended up. My self-image would have shattered. And today, she's a successful lawyer working for MNC.
Yeah,
this is.
I think it's true. I think many times as an educator or parents also, and it goes to me also, we are in a reactive mode. Okay,
yes,
how can you say to me? How can you talk to me? It happens to everyone. But as an educator, when you're in classroom, if you can show an example of compassionate or EQ, emotional stability, I think that can impact the students in long run. So this is great. So Dr. Hoskeri, I want to wrap up our interview. Do you have any final words as far as logic or as far as the education, overall education, where we are heading, the futuristic words?
See, futuristic world is really going to be very challenging. I wouldn't call it as challenging. It's going to be completely a different and innovative world. Because right now, we should not be earlier, like when I was doing my graduation, we had only a few fields left, whether engineering or medicine or, if you can't become anything, become a teacher. I'm the odd one out in the entire family. All of them are, entrepreneurs, businessmen, and then, they are lawyers. But I became a teacher. I chose to become a teacher. Anyway, but, now demands of job are going to completely change after 5 years, 10 years. We don't know. Actually, the technology is progressing the way it is progressing. AI, ML, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning and cloud computing is going to be the in thing. But always, again, we have to remember no robots or no artificial intelligence can replace human intelligence. So we have to equip our children to understand that. So when a child, sometimes my students used to ask me, ma'am, we are allowed calculators in the examination. Why do you want us to remember tables? Why do you want us to learn this? So you have to change the system for children. I always used to say, by the time you punch two numbers and assign and get the answer, your mind can calculate faster than that. And everywhere that calculator may not be access to you. So it all depends, because children are now flooded with information, right or wrong, that's okay. But when we grew up, we only had books for reference and teachers to look up to and our parents to look up to. Today, if you don't tell something to your son, he says, okay, dad, don't bother. Google is there. I will Google. My grandson started Googling at the age of 5. I'm not joking. He's studying IB curriculum. Kids are very smart and very tech savvy. So it's more of our responsibility. So we have to train our children to reason properly, to apply their logic, and to think critically, and then accept what is true and differentiate and reason out what is right and what is wrong. That is how I feel.
Yeah.
And I think probably whatever you spoke about your company and your design, I think it would be very great if the schools adopt it as at least as after school activity, if not into the curriculum stream. It could be an after school activity which will be graded also, and it's going to add value to their every subject. That's what I think.
True. Dr. Hoskeri, thank you so much. I hope you will join us in future also. I totally enjoyed talking with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you for this.